Hi, everyone. Little technical difficulties, but we're all so excited that you're here with us today to launch the new books out from Omnidawn. Always a cause for celebration. Today, we welcome new books by Jason Bayani, Molly Bendall, Jason B. Crawford, Arria Deepwater, Shane McCrae, Steven Seidenberg, Rodrigo Toscano, and John Yau. If you're like, wow, that is a lot of incredible authors, then you are correct. It's always an abundance of talent and light when we have these Omnidawn parties. And I'm just happy to be here with you today. My name is Evan Karp. I'm the director of Quiet Lightning, a literary nonprofit based in San Francisco since 2009. Want to just start again by thanking you for being here and supporting the series, as well as the local nonprofit press and Bay Area treasure Omnidawn Publishing. If you value the work that you hear today, please know that there's nothing you can do that is more supportive than to buy the books. Every purchase helps both Omnidawn and the authors directly. It makes it possible for the press to continue. I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say art saves lives, you guys, and not just the lives of the people who make it. Poetry and small press literature is a very real kind of front lines. I know a lot of us are deeply saddened by the closing of CCA, the California College of the Arts, and what it will do not just to the many lights who have found a home here, but also those who are thinking about where to live and build a life, what it will do to our city and to the area as we lose the institutions that brought us here. So if they're dear to you, please support them while you can. And Omnidawn Publishing is very much worth your support. So here's how today's event will go. Each author will read from their work. I'll be dropping their bios into the chat along with links to their books so you can find out more. There are also live links just beneath the video that you can click through. Each author will read for up to 8 minutes, maybe a little longer. We'll go without a break is the plan. So please show the authors some love in the chat and help me welcome them all here. I'll be over there in just a minute to help with any tech issues. Thank you all for being patient and for being here. Authors, I want to say welcome and congratulations on your new books. We'll hear from Jason Bayani first, and I'm very happy to turn it over to Jason. Everyone else, again, thank you so much for being here with us today, and I hope you enjoy the readings.
Sorry, it's having some technical difficulties with my mouse. Um, I wrote some longer pieces in my book, and was thinking was use my time reading a more abridged version of one. I want to thank y'all for being here and being together. And to all my fellow authors, congratulations. And yeah, I'm just read this poem. This piece is called Brutal Engine. We are inside an imbalance. Feel free to adjust this curriculum of unmaking. The colonial project is not over. Let this place be one of reweaving. 1,000 clay jars for all this grief. I make for you a place of landing, of storage, a living archive. Say it. I'm writing us back into history. Say it. Our homes will be our homes again. We say land is life, which is why when they come for us, they come for the land as well. Why do I apologize for what has been taken from me? In the spaces of a mission, I find a truer you that finds a truer me, a still that revises the fracture. There are no complexities within. Evil in this world is the imposition of power. It is at its core a surrender, a god of consumption. Who do you pray to, creator or destroyer? Which of the gods' faces mirrors your own? What lives at the removal of abstraction? One that remembers our movements in the world as holy and processional rather than the result of empire and all its unending fires. If time is a myriad of forms, then we are in the brutal engine, a history marked by what has been destroyed and what has been taken. Once we were the water and all of its possibilities, an ocean that rendered us bordered and yet borderless, unfettered by the boat, which is the extension of our soul, the only worthy navigator of the unknown. We start off in life with conditioning so we may be inured. What is the devil but that which separates you from the norm? I'm a presence in a wound here, a home of enduring regret. Who has agency in this place? Who among us must carefully navigate it for a semblance of safety? So many of us make homes in countries that have killed us dispassionately. For the killing of a non-combatant to become justified, the opposition must demonstrate irregularity, which denotes a rejection of form, a lack of adherence to. There is a civil way for you to die, which is to submit, which is to surrender, which is to acknowledge a greater power. Your hospitals, your schools, your places of worships, your homes, all your places of retreat and safety are muddled by irregularity, and inside the irregularity persists newer and newer forms. Civil warfare demands a certain purity. And what greater purifier is there than the fire? What greater bearer of fire is in our hands is the bomb. There is a light somewhere, maybe in the red marrow of my bones. All of the news broke apart in my hands yesterday. There are few horrors like those of a benevolent country. The man on the TV says the only thing that matters is us. And in every other country, I am us. And here I am until you say I'm not. But there is a light somewhere, isn't there? Or do I have to break apart me just to find it? What will become of the restlessness in my blood, the sharp tingle in my palms that curls all of my fingers into a fist? Every gain accumulates a debt. They will make you pay. Oh, they will make you pay. Balance is unprofitable. They will break you from your center and then offer you a weekend seminar on how to get it back to it. And then they'll tell you how much progress you've made, and just think about how much more progress you'll continue to make if you take our 6 week course. And during the 6 week course, you'll learn there isn't a center to you but levels. And right now, you are on level 5, and where you want to be is on level 1. Find out how with more classes and more seminars and one-on-one meetings with level 2s where you reveal, or in some cases, enact all your most blackmailable secrets. Because complete surrender of your ego and the offering of your vulnerability to a higher power is the only thing that will eliminate the angry microscopic aliens that live in your bloodstream and are the real reason why you can no longer find any true balance in this world, which is what you find out at level 3. I'm only trying to live as I know you are too, amongst all this certainty. So much belief without imagination. What is a God but a maker of things? And to believe in a God, shouldn't that also mean a belief in endless possibility? Who taught us how to extract the self? Who turned our gods into our monsters? The beast is the imbalance. It eats us out of time. Where is my place anymore? Where's the red of me? Where is a home for all of this fury? This is a thing about courage. I've known too many men who think they found it in the moment they see everything has been broken. Most people fight sloppy. Every punch wants to be a knockout. Every punch isn't ready for how much it will hurt. We walk away angrier. It doesn't leave you. People get tired of fighting what they can't win. You can't punch an idea or a country, there's just people. Why build when it can just as easily be broken? Why build when it isn't what anyone expects from you anyway? It isn't cuts or all the bruising you won't feel the next day. It isn't that. All that is just the wreckage. It is a ruin these hands of mine will make. I know enough people who will throw down with me. It doesn't take much. But those who build and stay building, those who make in spite of it all, that is the fight. The brave, the only brave I can manage anymore. There in the absences are beginnings. The form of it holds, to, form of it comes together if I hold it long enough. Such a staggering motion to the world, and yet we remain so stubbornly unmoved. I am of a rational mind. No one saves the world, but we can try to keep each other alive, within life instead of within dying. Who deserves our praise more than the ones we choose to dance alongside? In my hands will be the cup that holds all of your laughter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. Y'all show Jason Bayani some love in the chat and make sure you buy his book. Um, Jason's new book is Everyone I Love Alive. Thank you again, Jason. Next up, we'll hear from Molly Bendall. Molly.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to read some poems from Turncoat, and the figures and speakers in these poems dwell under the cloud of surveillance by an unnamed authority. Confidential meeting for future reference. I can't decide if the monument I stand beside arrests me or if it pushes me too close to blood traveling my arteries, slow. But language sparks when I quicken it. The roll call and the birds argue nonstop. I would serve and serve them. Here are my eyes, my unbuttoned forehead. Now the stairwell carries no daylight, and the mayor wanders the back streets. Do we forbid ourselves from carrying purses with tissues and powder? The building shook from the bottom, and later, when I heard them through the transom, I knew and followed in my apprentice suit. I make shields and fold maps into chicken craws. I stuff a grab bag of delight. I'm expected with meals for them. Thunder stumbles up the steps. No more bargaining. It's when my sweater fills with air, then with water, that morning comes to the quiet streets of power. Distract yourself by counting entryways. Locked in an index file. Devise tokens for saving. Blame it on not knowing her whereabouts. Your cue? Ask the dumb me. Set a foot there. Blame that too. Neither message came. Sometimes it's blindness. Sometimes that's how the skin tightens. Not a hand wave, just a lousy bet. Her legs pulled into her chest. Bottle green, they called the car. In between shadows, our train rolled on worries. Her sweater opened like a door. That kind of green doesn't really exist. I nearly drove it around. Out of hearing range, but where does it lodge? Then so close you could see the pilot's face. Currency, that's what keeps us steering. From then on, you jettison their response, hold it onto your skin. Questions of varying lengths. Could it be the third and fourth degree? Possibly she's styled for travel. Possibly a blanket calling out. Afterwards, a stiff push. I thought I'd speak or speed off. The vague territory of the present. Someone should make it their business so we could transfer the meeting, pack it up, pinch it into a needle's eye to be seen through a magnifying glass. And I'd take the tin and pour vinegar around the entrance so no one would think to forego another supper. That's the feeling when my lungs slipped down to my ankles. I knew it was misery. Like the dog said, the misery of broken chairs. And when we came to the meridian, I slid the ruler out of my dress. I had to tell her to buckle myself to the sky, then let her provide the ledger. Proof the day is alive. In my head, I felt the blows to her windpipe. I could no longer hinder the outcome. I could only adjust my limbs accordingly. But first, I had to tongue the glass gears and count the empty drawers to warrant a reprieve. Visualize anyone. She understood it now, the cog behind her back, celebrated it even, as her arms hung down too far. Her makeup, too, was amplified. Feel the grooves and teeth. If the cube she lived in would break, the shiny walls would stoop and bow. That's why I pulled her words in tight, even words that blistered without a remedy. I anticipated her testimony. That sustained me. When the crows increased, it was time for the sky to stretch. The group would never surrender. So I brought the starving ones milk. It helped them burn a path. It's not English anymore. And when her scarves rose higher than the elms, they snapped like shellfish and filled it all with noise. She held her blouse up to my ear. Listen, if you don't wear gray, the sunlight will bury you. I read her next epic in a day. And the last poem is Preponderance of Evidence. When aid came, it was tomorrow. Pulling snaps apart, I'd rather wing it. Had that one claim, ticked and talked it around her head. Strategies compounded the underside, warned as she tried to deny. There was hearsay. We compromised. We'd predict her next blank space. Speak to me as if I have Zorro's mask on. Then I'm a late baby boomer, but not dependent that way. Even the Zinnia bed was kept under wraps, thick with gnats, thick with new lettering. I'd invent a stitch for my sentence so its pulse would skip. When she finally revealed her jagged hairline, shh sounds came intermittently with the rainfall. Facts inside the matchbook spoke to it. In exchange for a cleanup crew, I brought wings to cover my face, supposing they'd excavate soon. Warships in the afternoon, warships in the evening. Strike and stay if they don't believe. A session goes unheeded. Over the speaker, a muddied voice retells the score. Slip like it got waxed and new anyway. Drive like your rescue came too soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. That was really powerful and intriguing work. Y'all show Molly some love in the chat and make sure to check out her book Turncoat. Next up, we have Jason B. Crawford. Show some love for Jason.
Um, Thank you all for being here. Thank you to Omnidawn for my second collection of poems. I am just gonna read a couple poems from this book. All you really need to know about this book is that it is an exploration of Afrofuturism, questioning or asking the question what it would look like if all Black people on Earth decided to leave and find somewhere else safe. And I'm gonna start here. Translations of an ancient text for Chris L. Butler. In the New World, we still say John, as in noun, the spot, noun, the lick, noun, the good, noun, the what I need at this moment. As in verb, the words I forget are special until I am holding them again in my arms. We still say we done, as in adjective, inevitable. As in verb, never question our mother's capable hands. As in verb, she breaks the chicken at the joint, severs the spine, always finds enough for 2 meals and 1 split bone. In the new world, we retired the word noun cop, and noun verb police, and noun prison, and verb remain silent, and verb silencing, and a list of other words we no longer need to govern us, like noun government, or noun president, or noun whiteness. We still say, "What's good, G?" as in noun, "Hello, my love," that I cannot name in public, as in verb, "I'm here for you to talk or not talk about it all," as in verb, "Let me unfold the table of my palms and bring sweet fruit to your mouth," as in adjective, "I'm choosing to ungroom this tongue for you, blessed boy, running from his own chalk shadow," as in adjective, "I'm sorry, I do not have more to spare." I'm only gonna read three poems. A lot of these poems in here are super, super long. So I'm gonna read a shorter one, and then I'm gonna read probably one of my favorite poems in the book. Ars Poetica. I know, I know. What a gorgeous world I've built in this aftershock. I've mentioned the trees and they rot. How beautiful is that? I've carried some of my people on my tongue and left the rest dry. Gamble with who was supposed to survive. I folded the poem into a boat safe enough for my loves to drown by my side. I've tested the buoyancy of paper, money, or otherwise, all turned transparent as lungs. I must apologize for acting on what could have been a dream, lining my coat pockets in dust. I must have been foolish. Is it not worth the sacrifice of bodies that could never enter these poems? Oh, holiest, hope-filled thing, I wish to save you from the truth. There is no tomorrow here for things like us. I say us and mean a litany of flies, all black, wings crusting over the sides. I say what if and mean regardless. There will be flowers, but who knows for whom they will be grown. I speak of the trees and mean the dead air rapturing my hands, and maybe it took too long to write this. The crows have already missed their tickets home. So I'm gonna end with the last poem in the book. The last poem in the book is one of my essays on Yeat. So the essays act as a conversation with another poet. I saw Simone write do this beautiful reading at the Guggenheim. If you see me out and about and want to ask me about it, please do. Um, I feel like it would take too much time to actually fully explain, but just know that this one is after Simone White. Essay on Yeat, a roadmap after Simone White. If you're wondering where we are here, the grass grows thistled and thorned, unconcerned by what could cause it harm, stupidly blooming everywhere it can touch, which is everywhere next to the mouth of a mothering creek. And yes, the creeks here bloom too. Wild daisy chain of water lilying its way around the greening bark of old oaks, which are still blooming into a perfect orange. And I must have mentioned the apples here are so bright that even the crisp air takes sips from them. The tangerines bloom their sharpest during what you once knew as winter, but we know as nothing ever dies. We never run out of space. The land itself cracks a smile wide enough to build on its teeth. And yes, here too we dance, and that dance is an act of blooming, and there is no tomorrow. or yesterday, only right now, and uncle's licked in the mystique of a charcoal grill, and I must have mentioned the trees before, their vines tangled and thriving, their trunks wet with breathing, the small triangles of flush light peering through their leaves. It covers us in silk as we dance. Yes, this blooming is survival, a dance we continue after our music drifts into the windbreaker whistle of the leaves, and we dance to our own silence, the jive break pop of our bodies collecting sweat in awe of each other's movements. All as one, we dance circles around each other, a rotating hand of a bracket clock freezing us in swirled step, where we can sound out the drop of the knees as they buckle from the soft age lent to us by sand, the dust clacking beneath our soles, our dreads, a gust of tambourines, boom boom cacking to the silence we are holding, the blade in our fingers excavating the joy in the lack of noise. Look how loud we've become in all of this space. We are soaked in felicity, our mouths clayed into silent laughter. We dance like black blood cells suturing wounds, spiraling silence. Listen, hear the joints crack out of place, the small step of praise pressing joy into the dirt, of praise so holy ghost that we perform to this trap beat, a praise so grotesque that we still come out unbloodied, our snarls and yips piercing the night, a praise of blooming bodies hollering into the dark, a praise only the dead could create. Could you imagine a place loving us for being alive? I must admit, this isn't a map for you to find us, rather, to know we made it safe. There's so much green in the palms of our planet, it's starting to hue the sky. If I take a deep enough breath, my lungs will bloom wild orchids, their stems hugging my arteries. It's become so difficult to say beautiful and not mean alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. That was both beautiful and so alive. Really appreciate your reading. Y'all make sure you show Jason some love and check out Yeet. Click through below. Next up, we have Arria Deepwater. Keep it going for Arria.
Thank you. And thank you just to everybody so far who has read and who's going to read. This is such a blast. It's an honor. It's a celebration to be part of this gathering and included in this work. I'm going to have trouble reading. I'm so glowy with what everybody else has been doing so far. Before I start reading, I want to give a shout out to Tegan Berard, who designed this extraordinary art for the cover. It's the prettiest book in the world, and I am so grateful for her contribution. What you might need to know before I begin reading from Descent is that it is a teeny tiny little novella. It's not a collection of poetry. And as a story, it's very strange. It's a modern fairy tale. So if you sense right from the beginning that this is a world you might recognize, but also one you're not so sure of, that's hopefully what I did right. Okay, here we go. Sona stepped naked from her tent, ready to dig the hole. Having chosen a spot by the river that afternoon, she went directly to it and began by moving a few small rocks away. She'd been careful to map the terrain in her mind, knowing that once night fell around the site, small dangers might wrap themselves in darkness. But she was lucky. The moon was feeling friendly and willing to help. The breeze touched her skin lightly, stirring it like a sea of sensation. She felt her body as a whole, not as separate parts, but as a single organ. Trees huddled close around her, stretching their arms toward the night sky. The air smelled of moving water and damp moss. Lichen crawled across the craggy surface of a nearby rise, cradling its algae symbiont, tucked unseen within the tiny, moisture-dripped ruffles. To Sona, it seemed as if the forest itself was watching, encouraging her. She used her hands like paddles, digging with gentle persistence, beginning as always by trusting the ending. The hole would measure no more than 2 feet across and be just as deep, needing about an hour to complete. Sona moved the soil through her hands, sinking into a state beyond thought. As she dug, her body readied itself. Her blood slowed, seeming to thicken in her veins, and her awareness stretched along the full expanse of her lengthening breaths. Her senses relaxed open, and the night pushed in, bringing with it a symphony of communication. Sona felt the microorganisms pulsing in the cool, damp earth, the sap barely awake seeping beneath the cambium of the trees. She could smell the way the moonlight traced the feathers on a nearby owl, the shape of its dangerous beauty. Scent trails and tiny electromagnetic tendrils imprinted themselves onto her awareness through her skin, and Sona dug. She felt the first contractions deep within her tissues, now engorged and slick, and moved to squat over the hole, forearms braced against her knees, palms turned upward. Raising her eyes to the full moon, Sona stretched her upper body skyward, mimicking the trees. The sound began deep in her belly, rumbled up through her throat, and resonated in the sinus cavity behind her nose. Her skin tingled, every synapse in her body sparked, and she felt the first egg, round, soft, and slippery, slide from inside her to land sweetly in the hole. Egg after egg passed as she sung them in from her belly into the nest. Each one sent waves of tingling electric pleasure through her pelvic girdle, the nerves in her brain answering with flashes of blue and yellow light. Small blisters, stimulated by digging, filled with fluid. Fine lines of throbbing pustules rose to the surface of her hands. Eventually, her song changed, becoming lighter, the pitch modulating higher. Shifting her weight back, Sona looked at the nest. Her consciousness could not count the more than 30 eggs, but her whole being, all the spaces between her cells, felt filled with deep satisfaction. Delicate blue speckles on pale yellow, glistening in the moonlight. She placed her hands gently on the eggs and poured sound into the nest. The skin on her fingers and palms became as thin as gauze, and gelatinous fluid gushed onto the eggs, permeating their still porous surface, feeding them. When it was over, Sona let out 2 quiet sounds, the throaty chirps merging gracefully with the murmur of the river. She used her feet and legs to carefully push the wet soil over the eggs. Only after the nest was well covered and camouflaged did she slowly stand and move cautiously into the cold river. She had a spot alongside 2 large rocks in the near center where she could surrender to the rush of the spring surge while staying nestled in place. The layer of earth clinging to her body melted away with the current, and her skin began to absorb the water, especially through the slack flesh of her hands. Floating at the surface, she felt the moon look at her body, felt the river cool the inflamed places. For a moment, she was Sona, as she was meant to be. She belonged with each breath, and as the river caressed her body, she returned slowly to her more human self. Despite the chill in the water, she was not cold, but she was tired, deeply tired, aware all at once that she craved the comfort of flannel, the embrace of sleep. Sona stretched languidly as she stepped out of the water. her muscles sore and her skin tender as the moonlight. It was then that something bit her. Angry and stinging, it sunk into the flesh at the back of her left thigh, and she fell. Everything went dark. No moon or stars, no flicker of a dream. Chapter 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Arya. That was delightful. Y'all be sure to show Arya some love in the chat and check out her book, Descent. And keep the love going for Shane McCrae. Shane, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Evan. And thank you, Rusty, and everyone at Omnidawn. And thank you to everyone watching this and to the other readers. Okay, I'm just going to read a few poems from two appearances after the resurrection. This is called After Hex 6. One's opportunities to be unhappy are corporate, yet disembodied. Like a clown who works exclusively at office parties. Here he comes, carrying, as he always does, his bright red briefcase. And now you have another team esteem bonds builder to fear. The script in somehow, it's a universal language no human being would ever speak, approved by many human beings. As far as going along with something goes, are you still part of everybody? The everybody in your home, the office, your city, your state, your country. Where? How far from you do you become just you again? If you, within the boundaries of your body, know yourself, and so, within the boundaries of your body, are yourself, alone, and not relying on what someone told you years ago a liver is, and what a liver looks like, and how a liver works, for whom? You? What percentage of your life do systems live for you you wouldn't recognize if somehow you could see them pulsing on a cluttered gurney by your side, mixed with, they look identical, organs from other people that would kill you were they stuffed in you, your body would reject? Is red healthy? You're paid to laugh by someone paid to whisper, by the people who pay themselves, who speak as loud as, louder than, they want to speak. People who shout when they're alone, who think their urge to be more powerful than other people, their organs pulsing redder on the gurney, will one day free them, though it binds them tighter to you every second of their lives, and always has. Though you're paid to listen to their whispers reddening in salaried bellies, where they redden into screams. This is called The Devil Has a Poem on His Mind, and it is after an untitled painting by Peter Doig. The devil slips into the painting from Blue Devil from behind a tree. The devil, invisible until he fills your eye, all hungering satisfaction and more hungering. The devil has a poem on his mind. He's searching for it, smiling, shirtless, wearing knee-length shorts, tan shorts or off-white shorts. The tree he steps from, you had thought he stood behind, erases that part of his arm, you who see only what's in front of the tree, that part behind the tree. That part lives only in your mind. The devil wants the poem more than his arm. And if he sees the poem in your heart, he will eat your heart. This is a wolf's skin stretched across a drum. It has an epigraph from Descartes, which goes like this. It is said that a sheepskin stretched over a drum will not give forth any sound when struck if a wolf's hide on another drum is sounding at the same time. From which, when it is struck, I hear my grandfather's voice, the man I called my father my whole life, my childhood long, my life from when, from after they, my mother's father, my mother's mother, took me, borrowed me away forever for a weekend visit. They said they would bring me back. They told my father they would bring me back. but they were white and he was black, and centuries of wood. I hear him when the drum is struck, a wolf's skin stretched across the drum, my mother's father, mine, and from the sound in pain, as himself stretched on the drum, as his own skin flattened across the bottomless black of its mouth, as he would disappear in the blackness, on the next strike disappear. But I hear only screaming, only suffering. I hear no music, though I strike and strike and strike. I don't want to. I don't want to go on too long. I think I will read. Just going to read one more. I was going to read two more, but I'll just read one more. This is the title poem, Two Appearances After the Resurrection, and it's in two parts. One, mistaken for the gardener. Where are the children you would tell, the hidden ones, the hidden two of the three now pulling you, two pulling you through the market, one behind you pushing, one pulling each arm. Though both of the two now pulling you are almost dragging you, backs to their destination, the hidden and the seen, both giggling. You only see one, him only when you twist your head and eyes around. Guess at the others. Probably the others, much like the one you see, pull eagerly, and so they face you, back to where. But you don't know their language, wherever they are dragging you, not really pulling you now, not for a while now, no. The one you see grins a tight grin, hair golden as the undercarriage of the white toy car you thought, when you were smaller than these children must be, are. You thought the car, its golden exhaust, had accidentally been packaged as an ordinary toy, had accidentally been sold to you, had been meant for a prince, skin white as the plastic underneath the flaked off gold. A grayish white, the one crying, shoving you with all his strength. Two, Didymus, meaning the twin. You woke with an expansive feeling, many feelings lambent, that grease with light the vague peripheries of your unwelcome vantage in the only basket with four good wheels at the laundromat. The fogged change fills the center of your vision, though you don't believe it's there, though you have mourned its coming since it came. The owner and his children popcorn into view from nowhere. From the seed of the possibility, this business at which no one seems to work might nonetheless be owned. The children, for some reason unimaginable, though you're sure you saw them once, one of the three. But if you've only ever seen one child, how do you know you've ever seen a child? Though the children fight to steal you from the basket, they can't be imagined, even the one you see. What wave will take you if you've only ever seen one moon? Now each child takes a limb, and their exhausted father your torso, leaving one limb free. But which? You can't, in the tangle, tell. In the tangle, you. Isn't it true they, as they struggle to remove you from the basket, are struggling to get away, each child from the other children, and from the father, and the father from the children, two of whom you still don't see? The palm tree on the traffic island. Isn't it a long-necked dinosaur, its body trapped in dirt, its leaves a treasured, leafy crown? How funny. Look, he looks, the giant plant eater, as he struggles not to eat it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shane. You also Shane some love in the chat. That was wonderful, Shane. Really good to hear you read for the first time. And y'all make sure to check out Shane's book, Two Appearances After the Resurrection. Link below and in the chat. And keep it going for Steven Seidenberg. Steven is next.
Thank you. Thanks, Evan, and thank you, Rusty and Omnidawn, for everything you've done to bring out this book, Coda. I'll be reading from the beginning of the fourth chapter of this book, and I'll just read straight through. I ask you for your patience, your forgiveness and forbearance. It's how all this comes right in the end, how everything finds stillness and foundation, moves from difference to resemblance. It's thanks to vision that the darkness overtakes us, to the clamor of debasement that we settle in the quiet. Thanks to the sun that the sun burns no more, that time ends its ravening of our precincts and disclosures, and suffering completes its chain in quietus, in lull and calm. We have nothing to do nothing, nothing to wait for nothing. There's no help in it, no help for it, nothing to help it. We will end where we belong where we are, go back to where we started, and only then. So I stumble headlong into such considerations as those I may be forced to set my mind to comprehend, perhaps to pardon, perhaps to sanction, perhaps only to witness. Yet one warning let me give to those of my present or my future readers who are suffering such lethal or impetuous blight, that they read not the symptoms or prognostications in the ascendance of this tract as applicable to their person, trouble, or hurt, and in conclusion get more harm than good. I advise them therefore to peruse with caution and brush aside when the sentiment suggests. If through weakness, folly, passion, ornament, or ignorance I have said amiss, let it be forgiven and forgotten. I acknowledge that a dull blade is more likely to incise the one who holds it than a sharpened wit, for the absence of precision in its wielding. To put a cap on it, I am only as I am composed by telling, as the telling I've composed by telling, whatever path that indolent prolixity may take, whatever tale my tolling through this heap of tailings tells. It amounts to little more than the assertion, proffered as self-evident, though perhaps without just cause, that as the measure of the reading, forsooth is that alone, I have done just as I will, a doing that transcends the indiscretions of the neophyte by harboring this bleary pentimento of abstractions. How such indiscretion should be understood companionable, let alone companioned, despite being committed to a certain culmination in a capsize of the keel, is a question neither you nor I can answer without correlated effort, without affecting our true measure of the quandary face to face. Fortunately, it's all a dream, for here there is no face, nor anything resembling one, nothing to reflect the joy of living or the fear of its rebuke. Imagine you've encountered something else, some simple thing, a box, a wooden chest, to interrupt your sightline for an instant. You find on its exterior evidence of grandeur, but also decadence, painted on the outside with lewd and naive figures, such as sleeping satyrs, bridled priests, demons herding human sheep into the devil's furnace, such as drunken harpies, saddled goats, choruses of lycanthropes, angels baiting saints to prove they're worthy of the firmament. All this you can envisage, and other playful scenes to provoke you unto laughter or amusement, or for those more thoroughly indentured to the sovereignty of scruples, to repulse. Bear with me then while I expose my ludicrous exterior, such that if you laid your eyes upon me, you would construe my jumble of an aspect as a masquerade, with the gaze of a child and countenance of a fool. In carriage awkward, wanton in apparel, in fortune poor, unhappy in demeanor, unfit for all stations, always laughing at the wrong moment, and crying when the crowd is chuffed with mirth, merrily skulking in the shadows and the margins, relishing the hurt that's harrowed every last decampment from the safety of my hovel, with continual taunts and jeers, and betimes more violent blows, the better by those means to conceal my divine knowledge. Now, opening this box, you have been assessed a heavenly and unsurpassed intoxication from its vapors, the waft of an unmitigated understanding of universal virtue and matchless erudition, breathing the ambrosial fumes of inestimable foresight, of infallible certitude, and ingenious disregard for all with which the many do so watch, run, swim, kiss, eat, fight, sink, shit, sleep, drink, wake, toil, and generally disturb themselves. And put the case that in the literal sense you meet with purposes sufficiently urgent and consequently correspondent to their inscriptions, yet you must not stop there, neither from temptation nor disdain, but endeavor to interpret in a sublime sense, a sense which possibly you intended to have spoken only in the secret courage of your heart. If you've ever witnessed how a dog behaves with a marrow bone in its mouth, you've noticed the devotion with which it shields and guards it, what care it keeps, and how fervently it chews and cradles it. What moves the beast to take such pains? Nothing but a little marrow, and that seems quite enough. In imitation of this dog, I say it becomes you to be cunning in your obsessions, to smell, feel, and hold in similar estimation this ossified lot, stuffed with high conceptions, which, though seemingly difficult in the midst of their pursuit, are in the cope and carry somewhat facile. And then you must, by sedulous lecture and frequent meditation, break the bone and suck out the marrow, which is to say, the doctrines and hypotheses I target by this cockamamie mix of jibes and symbols, assured that in so doing you will at last aspire to be well advised and heroic in their decipherment. For by the shrewd perusal of this treatise you shall acquire another kind of taste, and a system of more profound and abstruse contemplation, which will exhibit to you the most glorious sacraments and grievous mysteries, as well in what concerns your disposition in the world as matters of the public taste, and life most economical. Thus apprised of furtive quirks, of mossy fields, of toxic verse, of outward brawn that covers up invisible privations. Thus forewarned of swills and swells, of breathy vows and ambuscades, and every other flush and freeze, of fetid exhalations, I think I shall compel us both, or all perhaps, return us all. How could I know your numbered kind, no more than your cognomen? To hold the pivot point where my concern for your uneasy truck careened so far ahead of pole position. Better the uneasy than the dead, you may reply, and with nothing but agreement from your humble guide, I note that in this moment of refractory compliance, forewarned is foretold. So this scrutiny is just what will direct us towards a judgment, towards an ending. Our return to that malignancy most like to find the ardor of the graveyard on this hallowed ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. So good to hear your voice again. Y'all show Stephen some love in the chat, and check out his book, Coda. And keep the love going. Rodrigo Toscano is next. Rodrigo, take it away.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. It's great to be with you all. Thank you for everything. I'm just going to jump right into this. This poem is from the collection. It's called Happy Campus. 1. This is the dirt-eating poetics that's gotcha. The dirt-eating poetics you've been yearning for. You did good. You did something you hadn't before, contorted yourself into optimal stances. You persisted with your dirt-eating impulses. 2. When the garden trail came to a sudden dead end, you celebrated by dreaming as a log might, calling forth decomposition's cute sister, life. A single crushed can of rosé strewn thereabouts is all you, too, at maximum inflection point. 3. But here you are back at the plazas of commerce, into the routines of knowledge dispensation. Here, too, you contort yourself to what's most pressing. These happy or grim faces of late empires throng. You do a sort of bump dance. Attention glides up. 4. At noon, the plazas clear themselves of their contents. Overhead, a Boeing 737 roars for curious ears, streaks of places to be, fade till the next industrial jolt wakens you. Time for a quickie jaunt among ferns' spongy soil. 5. This is the dirt lavishing poetics at hand. A flexed forearm gripping a bulky book at dusk gives way to dalliance with penciled sprites at dawn. A picnic in the style of 2022, keen to supply lines of microchips and maidens. 6. Fuel is what's on tap today, sparking up forms, combustions, pipelines, canalizations of fire. How the plazas themselves are poetical feats. You can deem yourself a fallen log at midnight, or rally the concrete under your feet to flight. This one's called Caras y Máscaras, Faces and Masks. Whitman, Cannonball, Puebla. Frigates, Dickinson, Shanghai. Pound, Ramparts, Manila Bay. Black Hawk, McClough, Hangerlock. Seawolf Sub, Shanghai, Dry Dock. Puma Drone, Alurista, Landing Block. Ordnance Blast, Bay of Pigs, Baraka. Radar Jam, Porsche, Nicaragua. Canonizations, Fuel Depot, Reconnaissance. Workshops, Close Reading, Launching Pad. White House, Striking Range, Renditions. Laureate, Pacific Fleet, Pastorals. Affirmaniety, Ascansineity, Imperium. What's his face? What's her face? What's their face? This one is called Live Wires and Duds. Seville woke up in New Orleans and quickly spotted 3 poets on its doorstep, sounding northeast. Benin rang the doorbell 2 times. In came Havana, flashing flesh, and 3 duds from Massachusetts. A live wire from Port-au-Prince yelled from across the rain-soaked alley. 2 more duds closing in, east, west. Seville said, look, I'm a live wire. I can't just ping Ponchatoula and make you all bourbon starlets. And neither can Port-au-Prince shine while 2 Connecticut duds croon whatever they croon, shocking themselves. Benin, backing it up, added, soon as these clouds are clear, I'm bouncing, plus activating 4 live wires. Havana sprawled out on the porch, thinking of ways to radiate without freaking a dud or 3. Seville stood on the balcony and watched the rain turn to vapor, looking for live wires through the haze. Port-au-Prince fell in with 2 duds, dubstepping to the riverbank, and tried confabbing, a quick match. Ponchatoula woke up at noon, unaware of the whole circus, but hungry for the whole circus. This one's a grimmer poem. This one's called Clearing Lines, as in the military parlance, to clear lines. Boys in a tank incinerated behind a tree line. That's as far as it got, that poem. And alongside that fragment, in chicken scratch, variate 10 times, 14 syllables per strophe in tercets. Questionable directive in light of boys in a tank incinerated behind a tree line. This shard, this fleck of ineffability, if unhoused by a poem, mortifies. If fully housed by a poem, doubly so. Guy in a cafe, tied in knots by representationality, while the byline to the video simply reads, offensive surge, clearing lines. Just like that, clearing lines. Clearing lines. That's as far as it got, that piece. And this is from the humanities section, which is the middle section of the book. I'm just to read a couple of these and trail off. This one's called Humanity, a Meandering Raft. Something here won't allow a simple phrase about humanity. Since humanity is a dream dreaming us, it floats, fragments. So maybe this is a fragment, adrift in perilous waters. Let's say a swamp at midday in summer. Here, our best portraitists hold fast, hatch humanity. Here, our civilizational urges find an outlet back to sea. But for now, this raft is hushed among mangroves. Something here won't allow a simple humanistic line, a seed of a workable society, a terrain of energies to integrate. What is it that's disallowing? What is it that's speaking here? Might the metaphor of waterways signal the brink of beginnings? Or might the dream of brinking signal an open sea of endings? And these are sort of fables about sort of humanistic thinking. So this one's called Humanity, a Quirky Nomad. And not just across savannas, but into the canyons, and then out of the canyons towards deserts, and beyond deserts, this cliffside. People say this here cave's empty, but best scour the backmost nooks. That's where fear is likely crouching, warlocks of the end times scheming. The warlocks stumble from the start, lame attempts at conjuring awe, frightening no one in this cavern. Panic builds up in their voices. They scatter like 100 bats out into the crisp morning air, thank mountaintops for crisp mornings, lush meadows, meandering herds. So we've settled in for a year and sacrificed the passing days, kindling verses, sparking up life, popping off tales around the fire. Work the quirk, everyone bellows. Work the quirk, that everyone does. But now it's time to journey on, taking with us cinders of heart to the next valley where joy blooms, or beachside where gloom goes to die, where words crackle into the air as the age funks out in ashes. This one's called Humanity, a Loose Brick. Dislodged a brick from the Cathedral of Salamanca humanism. That was dodgy. Took that brick home, put it on the mantle, stuffed it in the closet. That was freaky. Then took the brick back, reinstated that brick when no one was looking. That was sneaky. And posted a photo reel in the cathedral with everybody looking. That was cheeky. Then lined up the words justitia, clementia, dignitas, abundantia. That was geeky. And extrapolated the governing concept, convivencia. That was ballsy. Then transmogrified the cathedral itself into a black cat. That was crafty. The cat then pranced all over town, nipping at hopes. That was frisky. Humanity, a Cretaceous terrace. Municipalize electricity. Oh, for an island. Plates lifting, plates sinking, plates crashing. Federalize health industry. Oh, for an island. Magma spewing, magma flowing, magma cooling. Demonetize education. Oh, for an island. Sponges chilling it, sponges chilling it, sponges chilling it. Nationalize right to shelter. Oh, for an island. Seashell clumps, seashell shards, seashell mounds. Socialize childcare. Oh, for an island. Sand crab pop. Sand crab hop. Sand crab bop. Illegalized billionaires. Oh, for an island. Plesiosaur jaw. Plesiosaur gut. Plesiosaur turd. Deprivatized water and sewage. Oh, for an island. Pterodactyls soaring. Pterodactyls circling. Pterodactyls diving. And then this last little one is from that same set from Humanity. And this one's just called Humanity, a Sort of Shape. Because shape like that can give hugs to shape like that. And because shaped like that can hug not shaped like that. And also because shaped like that are also not shaped like that. And because also not shaped like that are also shaped like that. It's a huggy house of shapes upon shapes, sort of shaping up. They had a sort of shape about them. That people can say. They were shapely. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Loved your reading. Y'all show Rodrigo some love in the chat and be sure to check out his book, Whitman Cannonball Puebla. And you can click through right below the video. Keep the love going. We've got last but not least, John Yao. Make some love in the chat for John.
Can you hear me? Yes, nod. Oh, nod. You can hear me, right? I hope so. Movie night. So I'm going to read from my new book. It's Selected Poems, 74 to 2024. Movie night. We were eating the last wave of migrant sausages mixed with rare spices on the black veranda of the Flying Saucer Bar and Grill when I heard someone telling you that there was a rumor that I had sex with you once, but at that point in your life, you weren't paying attention to small interruptions, and that, despite the peaks and valleys one naturally must traverse, nothing untoward happened, though an event unfolded, call it collision of time and space, dotted with foreign objects. What it was, no one can now recall, even though someone said, he had heard that I had set out on a journey from the far end of the town to tell you that what had happened that day was better than anything that could be said about it. But this is a different person that is speaking, the one who wasn't in the back seat intersecting with you upright in the dark, but was sitting hunched over in the front cavity, driving through villages and towns scattered beneath the stars, haphazard collections of artificial light squatting in the dark, swarmed over by nothing they can remember as the vehicle careened past libraries, firehouses, and general stores, repositories locked up for the night, two people curled around each other, pushing themselves into that place where shedding is inevitable, no one gripping the steering wheel as the malfunctioning starship wobbles deeper into the dark. But of course, this isn't what happened the night it happened. There were two bodies and many shadows, some of them benign, embracing them in the parking lot beneath a yellow street lamp near a train station, occupied by two puppets on stilts in the distance, a blue castle commanding all who could see it to obey, kneel before its authority. Yes, there are instances even now when a tessellated edifice appears on the horizon, or a child with one leg and an old sword hobbles out into the street, not to be run over by the tram, all while the two of them, or is it us, are engaged in a criminal act, at least as such acts are defined by the owners of the castle. A bald figurine whose corkscrew mouth never stops twisting, even in sleep. Can't you hear what is happening outside? Lightning on the rim of the world, arrival of thunder, the bowling alley shaking under the weeping willow. And there we are, in the middle of a sentence that joins us and won't let go. And the longer we stay in this sentence, this rain, the more gets poured out of the containers that constitute our separate physical manifestations, including those things we have never said to ourselves before, which is how all this got started. Music from childhood. This is a band tune, I believe. You grew up hearing two languages. Neither fits your fits. Your mother informs you mean means window to another world. You begin to hear words mourn the sounds buried inside their mouths. A row of yellow windows and the painting of them. Your mother informs you moon means window to another world. You decide it is better to step back and sit in the shadows. A row of yellow windows and a painting of them. Someone said, you can see a blue pagoda or a red rocket ship. You decide it is better to step back and sit in the shadows. Is it because you saw a black asteroid fly past your window? Someone said, you can see a blue pagoda or a red rocket ship. I tried to follow in your footsteps, but they turned to water. Is it because I saw a black asteroid fly past my window? The air hums. A circus performer riding a bicycle towards the ceiling. I tried to follow in your footsteps, but they turned to water. The town has started sinking back into its commercial. The air hums. A circus performer riding a bicycle towards the ceiling. You grew up hearing two languages. Neither fits your fits. The town has started sinking back into its commercial. You begin to hear words mourn the sounds buried inside their mouths. Variation on a line by Duo Duo. I love the house on fire, inviting us to lie down, inviting us to become its tightly fitting roof, as if the moon is a python waiting to uncoil, as if our blushing cheeks did not offer brazen proof. I love the house on fire, inviting us to lie down, umber summer falling slowly to its knees, inviting us to lie down in its scarlet tracks, inviting us to embrace the already blazing sky. This is from a sequence. Too far to write down. There's 8 poems. I'll just read the first 2. And it was written, the artist Pia Fries, a great, sweet Swiss artist, sent me a book and asked me to write poems in response to it. 1. I, humble scribe of clouds, ask permission to make my case, while you scatter ochre cumuli above circles of open huts, pull thick violet brushstrokes through cascading green mountains. I watch my poems ferry fiery farewells downstream. Dream that I am in 2 places at once, listening to new ghosts complain there is no room until the old ghosts leave their vestments behind. Hear wisps of weeping, wind gathering in mulberry trees, become wrinkled sheet floating above empty bed. Watch victory and defeat unfurl flags against cold red sky as moon follows its hollow twin into a waterfall's marbled sections. I turn into drops of ink and snow settling into the repaired space of this poem. 2. I, humble scribe of clouds, ask permission to make my case. It does not matter if the poem's eyes are those of a dead fish. It sees that I'm an idle dreamer, jilted by flowers stretching far, sees me patch another layer of gauze to a mulberry tree eaten by moths, sees me kneel by a river and look at a face waging war with itself in long ago. I have become a dirty chair on which no one will sit, not even my stuffed parrot. Must I confess that I see you dancing in a poem that I have not yet written this morning? I began washing away remnants of my cold mountain house. Can this memory become a blue flower floating in a pool of black ink? It is snowing in these poems, which were once branches catching the snow. Unreadable midnight, this part of the world you have not yet bid goodbye. I watch the river changing colors as if it can find itself inside another story to spill. After I turned 71 for Laura Mullen, I did not expect to see myself standing before a mirror. I look like someone I would never want to meet. I wonder if I've made a mistake without knowing it. I'm sure the word disaster does not tell the whole story. I know there's room for improvement, but I decide to skip over that part. I realize this passport is the last one that will be issued to me. I begin to think the joke is not only on me. I can walk in any direction and still end up in the wrong place. I stopped trying to make a list of words I will never use again. I decide making sense is no longer an acceptable form of lying. I think it is prudent to let others do the counting. I often tell strangers that I might start vomiting when the seasons begin to change. I agree that reincarnation is a scam perpetuated by life insurance companies. I liked it when the cab driver called me young man and gave him a smaller tip. I read three more. Chinatown Blues. Don't keep saying poetry makes nothing happen. I'm not trying to be your surrogate chaplain. I'm going to grow up and be a hatchet man, doing the sharp and shiny thing, being the best I can. Don't tell me the wood is far too green or yellow, or that Mr. Frost, protector of fences, is a jolly good fellow. I'm still going to grow up and tell it slant. Don't even try and tell me I can't. Stop reminding me I have to watch what I say, be polite, or I'll have to pay and pay. I'm still going to grow up and be a hatchet man, doing the sharp and shiny thing, being the very best I can. Uh, or actually, this will be the last one I read. It's called Morning Notes 1 through 10. They're all short because one only makes short notes. 1. I wake up and think I'm still alive, but there's no guarantee it will last to sunset. Just just you wait and see, I tell myself. Sometimes I listen to what I'm saying. 2. I like to think I give good advice, but this is one of the many lies. I tell myself I shouldn't forget, but can't, at least until it starts snowing. The last time it snowed, the sun was shining. The weather will become colder each spring. Things are changing. We waited and watched. It isn't a movie. Happy endings are a thing of the past, like telephone booths and saluting a flag. 3. I drink black coffee from a blue cauldron. I forget stairs can go in two directions. Whoever said I was going anywhere? Who said I was going anywhere? I'm already nowhere in sight. 4. Better luck next time, and the time after that, and so on. Do you have anything to bargain with besides the monkey on your back? 5. You got to beat the hills into shape, good shape. Otherwise, nature gets to keep the upper hand. You will live to regret this, or if not this, then this and this and that. Something's got to give. 6. I keep hearing that one in the hand, is worth less than it used to be. 7. You could say that I am an all you want on it burger without leftover meat. This is not a joke pretending to be a fire drill. Elephants recently took up residence in my brain. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there. 8. I can no longer explain the difference between right and wrong now that my left hand is a separate entity, a loss to co-joined obligations doing whatever it wants, damp barriers at the local dump. Give me back my polluted pen, my instrument of nostril soot, dripping drunken ant scratches. 9. When someone tried to return my identity, I told them they could keep it, as I had another door hidden in my frontal globe. 10. You have to seize the iron handkerchief, wipe the ants from your green brow. This is how you pretend to be only the air you breathe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Always love your readings. I think it's
Okay.
snowing in my chest now, so thank you for that. And major thanks to all of the authors. I'm gonna move us into gallery view so you can see them all as you cheer for them loudly in the chat. We heard in alphabetical order from Jason Bayani, Molly Bendall, Jason B. Crawford, Arria Deepwater, Shane McCrae, Steven Seidenberg, Rodrigo Toscano, and John Yau. Show them all some love in the chat, please. Major thanks to you all, and congratulations on your books. If you haven't purchased the books yet, you can click through just beneath the video. Support Omnidawn. Keep them in the world forever, please. And with that thought, I'm gonna happily turn it over to Omnidawn's publisher and co-founder, Rusty Morrison.
Hi, everybody. What an amazing reading. It's such a pleasure to hear all of you read, every one of you, unforgettable and excellent. And every book is excellent in its own unique way. But there are three things that I think all of the writing in this season have in common. One, that you use both form and content, even in the fiction, the form of the fiction itself, how it shifts from one expectation to another, and the poems, how they shift from one lyric agency to another in terms of form, and how surprising the lyricism, even in statements. I kept laughing and crying in so many moments. And there is so much arresting detail in all of your work that I tried to keep up some of it in the chat that just shocked me and surprised me. And unexpectedly complex ideas that, because of the way they're written, flow to mean more than just objective truth. And that is very powerful for me. And you all, in your own unique way, embody our Omnidawn ethos, which is to bring deep meaning to all of those readers who come to it, and in some small or perhaps large ways change them in ways that will allow them to free their spirit even in these treacherous times. So I just want to thank all of you again. It was marvelous. And thank you, Evan Karp. Yay! What would we do without you? It's just wonderful the way you host us and take care of all of us in the process. So thanks to all.
Thank you, Rusty. And thank you again all for joining us. If you would like to be an Omnidawn author and you're watching, I would encourage you to check out omnidawn.com. They are accepting submissions right now for their first and second book contest, which you should definitely send in your work for. Thank you. I think without further ado, I'll just bid you all a wonderful day, and I hope that you're able to take some of this light into the future with you. Thank you all again.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.